What is going on, YouTube? We are back with another freaking video, bro. Before we get into the video, you probably have noticed, but I've got the goatee and the stash rocking. We're gonna run it. Anyways, let's get right into the video. In this video, I'm gonna be breaking down why you are the person standing in your own way. See, I want to just briefly touch on a story about like how a couple perspective shifts, really changed my life. Honestly, like starting back, 12 years ago when I got into my fitness journey. I was always the skinny kid. I always struggled to put weight on, and I was always insecure, didn't have the confidence, and not just that, I didn't really have a lot of purpose for my life. And so when I started to look into what I was actually interested in, which at the time were athletics, sports, running, things of that nature. If you consider running a sport, bro, you're an absolute nerd. I ran track and cross country, so I can clown the sport, bro. It's not even a sport. It's just a weird activity people do to stay in shape. Anyways, I started with sports, and as I got into sports, I was always like the kid, basically one of the taller kids on my basketball team, bro, getting pushed around. Didn't have like a lot of strength. Also, like I could jump okay, but I wasn't like some Gerald Green. I wasn't jumping out of the gym, so I didn't have a ton of athleticism, but I was, playing power forward, bro. And just for context, I ain't that tall, bro. I'm like 6'2". So, I mean, it's tall, bro, but for a power forward in high school, like most of them are 6'5". Some of them, 6'7". So, and one time I was facing up against a 7-footer, bro. It was nuts. But anyways, I didn't have much going for me, but the coach was like, hey, we need you to just run the starting spot as, power forward. And I was like, bro, seriously? Like, I want to play shooting guard. Let me dribble the ball, you know what I'm saying? He's like, nope. I'm like, okay. So the next couple of years on the team, I was pretty much, just running power forward. I was getting slammed inside the paint, trying to box out, trying to grab rebounds. And I had all these people, that I just felt like I couldn't compete with. So I was like, you know what? I want to get into weight training. I had dabbled into it a little bit. But around this time, I started to really take things differently. I think I was like, 15, maybe 14 at the time when I started to I was a few years into weight training and whatnot. But I was like starting to really push it. I was like, okay, let me actually put some size on. And so as I started to put muscle on, I remember just having so much more ability, and not just with boxing people out in the paint and pushing people around, but more so just like confidence in myself and like me stepping on the court, bro. I knew I was good, but a lot of it was like lack of confidence that would make me not perform my best. So when I started to put the muscle mass on, I felt like a completely different person, bro. And it just changed the way I looked at myself, honestly, and that carried over into how other people, perceived me. And I remember the next season, showing up to my last every year of playing baseball, my coach was like, yo, what happened, bro? Like, you look jacked. And I was like, it wasn't the craziest transformation, but I put a decent amount of muscle mass on, probably like 15 pounds over like the off season, like 6 months or whatever. And so I just remember feeling like, damn, like I have the confidence now too. And I was making crazy contact with the bat, just like driving the baseball like further than I had before. And I think a lot of it was from mindset. See, there's somebody I look up to in the entrepreneurial space. His name's Ed Milet. You might have heard of him, but he talks about something that really interests me. I'm a huge psychology nerd. Shout out this girl I used to date. She was kind of into it herself. She studied it in college, and I was always interested in books. So she started giving me psychology books, and I read through those motherfuckers in a couple of days. And anyways, back to the conversation on hand. I noticed this is interesting. And basically Ed Milet has this saying where, when your body, it's not a saying, it's a fact. When, your body gets into repetitive habits, you basically are making it easier and easier to stick with those habits. And he talked about how there was an off season where he essentially, broke. I think he broke his foot or his leg or something. I might be off with that, but he basically had an injury. He was out for the whole off season, and the athletic trainer said hey, I still want you to show up to practice every single day. And he was like, all right, just part of how the team works. I got to be supportive of my teammates. And when he got to practice, he was working with somebody that basically just kept telling him, I want you to visualize swinging and hitting the ball. And, Ed looked at him like, bro, you're crazy. I can't even hit this season. Why am I just going to think about it? He was like, bro, I'm telling you, trust me, just visualize what it's like to hit the ball. right? And I think at the time before that season, he had like a 190 batting average. So for you guys that know baseball, like it's not very good. He was probably one of the worst hitters on the team. And long story short, the guy, I think it was like an athletic trainer that just had him go through these visualization drills in his own mind of like him hitting the ball to left field, him hitting the ball to right field, to center, hitting line drives down the third base line, like things like that. And pretty much like, did this the whole season. And he would have him like see it from different angles. He was like, I want you to envision yourself being the batter in the batter's box and feeling what it feels like when the ball, comes off the sweet spot at the bat. And I want you to like genuinely put yourself in the position like how it would feel. And then I want you to, start to perceive it from how the pitcher would see it. And essentially he just had him go through like most of the positions on the field. Like, put yourself in the perspective. Imagine like you're the pitcher, like what it looks like you hitting the ball. So he's now seeing himself in first person, second person, third person, etc. Seeing himself in all these different positions and from these different perspectives, crushing the baseball. Long story short, next season he shows up and he's like one of the top 2 or 3 batters. And I think his batting average went up to like 350 or something crazy, like almost doubled, right? And what I got from that video was he was talking about, maybe it was an interview, he was talking about how your mind really creates your reality. And it seems so cliche, right? But, when you start to visualize things inside your mind and you start to psychologically become a different person and allow your brain to perceive you in a different light, your body is just going to follow. Like you're just going to actually become that person. And this is not to say this is some woo-woo where like you just do it and then you're good. Like obviously you still have to be working. But moral of the story, the reason I want to touch on that is I had been working out, I had been playing sports, I had been trying to be confident, all these things, but I wasn't seeing results. And so when I started to envision myself as that person, I thought about like, okay, what type of actions does a person that has confidence, has muscle mass, is, bigger, all this sort of stuff, what type of actions does he take? And, my actions just followed. Like I just worked like crazy. I spent like every day, pretty much all day, just focusing on that. And to make a long story short, this loud ass car, motorcycle. Anyways, to make a long story short, I started to notice that my mindset was the biggest thing that was holding me back. And I think that carried over into me with my fitness journey, because I started to just think about myself as a different person and take actions as how that person would. And in the same sense, when I started my business, I had, I think, a lot of ease shifting my mindset to becoming that person. Not to say it was easy by any means. I had to literally become a completely different person. But in the same sense, I thought back to like how I made a transition from this scrawny 120, 130 pound kid to getting up to 180 and then inevitably 200 and then 210. And there was like a period of time where I was 215, but we're not there. So we lost some of that muscle. We got to get it back. But I just thought back to like how that transformation was and how I thought about myself then. And I think that really allowed me to start to shift my mindset and my perspective with starting this business, because I grew up, just working jobs, like doing things I didn't really want to do. And so when I decided that I was going to go all in on the coaching business, it was in my head for a while. I was thinking about it. I don't want to say half in, half out. Like I was thinking about it, consuming information about it, reading about it, literally all day. It was all I was thinking about. I was like, bro, as sad as it is to say, I was in a relationship at the time, and I just remember being at her house, like literally in my own head, like thinking about like I need to scale my business, like I need to help more people, like I want to do, this coaching thing, right? I want to run my fitness business like I've been telling myself in my head I want to do for the past 5 to 10 years, and it eventually got to a point where I was in there, I was doing the work, I was that person growing the business, but it wasn't seeming to pan out. And so I started to think back on the things I kind of just touched on the Ed Milet video, and also my own transformation and how my mindset shifted. And when I shifted my mindset, everything changed. Like, bro, literally everything changed. And the reason this video is titled Why You're the Person Standing in Your Own Way is because you truly are, bro. Like, the person that was holding myself back from growing the business to where it's at right now, and also the same person that was holding himself back from putting on over 70 pounds of muscle mass, is the exact person that was doing the work myself, bro. I was holding myself back. And so when I started to just think about myself differently, put myself in the perspective and in the shoes of the person I want to be, John 2.0, if you will. That's what I talk to my clients a lot about. It's like, yo, what would so-and-so 2.0 version of yourself be, right? Like whoever I'm talking with, maybe they're struggling at some point. They got to, do more action, take more work, think about themselves differently. I always ask them, what would the 2.0 version of yourself do? And they think about it and they tell me. And I say, well, just do that. And if you keep doing those actions consistently, you'll be that 2.0 version. And it's so true because you literally need to believe it before you can see it, right? And so everything that's created, on this earth was first an idea, was first something put into your mind. It was first something that somebody thought about and considered doing. And then the people that actually did those things, they just took action on the thought. But it all stemmed from the thought. See, like people don't just take action and magically like have this thing happen. Like they think about, oh, what would happen if XYZ happened? And then sometimes that leads you into a different outcome that's even better. And moral of this YouTube video, to make a long story short, I think if you can just start to picture yourself as the person that you want to become, and then step 2, you can think about what type of actions would this person continuously have 24/7, literally every day, and what type of habits would he develop, what would be his priorities. Then you can realize, okay, that's how I need to act, and I just need to do those things, and then I'll be that person. And it's funny because Alex Hormozy, a big mentor of mine, or I shouldn't say mentor, I've never worked with him, but big inspiration. I read all his books and stuff. He talks about how like a lot of people just like shout affirmations in the mirror and get confidence that way, but truly confidence comes from competence. And I 100% agree, but I think that there is a big slice of the pie that comes from your mindset, because if you're thinking about it, if you're this scrawny kid that can't put muscle mass on and you're going into the gym telling yourself like, I'm not good enough, I don't know how to do this, I'm not like these other guys that have better genetics, which is just a lie to yourself at the end of the day. Like you're not going to take the action. Even if you do, you're not going to be focusing on what to do. You're going to be in your own head. Same thing with starting a business. If you don't see yourself as somebody that's able to do this, then like you're never going to have those ideas come to you. If you're somebody that's out of shape, overweight, and you want to lose weight, like, and you continue to think of yourself as a fat person, bro, you're going to continue eating McDonald's and like all this horrible food. You're going to continue being lazy, and you're not going to discipline not just your body, but your mind, because it literally all starts here, bro. It all starts in your mind. And so if you could just start to envision yourself as the person that you want to be, bro, your life will literally change, and it will be quicker than you think. It can happen in just a span of a second, where you decide to have a thought, you associate and identify with that positive thought, and then all your actions moving forward start to change. And your habits develop. You are that person that you want to be. And that's something that I think a lot of people don't realize, is you're the person in your own way. So don't hold yourself back any longer. Don't be the type of person that, just gives up on himself. Because I've seen insane transformations. I know friends, people I've networked with that have lost 100 pounds, 120 pounds in a year. I've seen people go from making zero money on the internet, to being a millionaire, bro, in a couple of years. And I've had insane transformations myself where I didn't make a single penny on the internet, and I was trying to figure out how to coach people online. And then I got to a position where I was making 5 figures a month, and my entire life changed, not because of the output, but because of the input, because of the possibility of, oh wow, like what happens if I just do more of this? And my mindset in the past, when I worked different jobs, was not like that. I was working for minimum wage or a little bit above minimum wage, and I was working, unstable sales jobs, not making ends meet, to say the least. I was in a bunch of debt. And then I started making more money than I'd ever made on the internet. Literally from a computer screen, bro. Not even from a computer, bro. From my freaking iPad, brother. It's so crazy. And so, in the same sense, if you have goals, aspirations you want for yourself, you just need to understand that the only person that's holding you back is yourself. And I don't want this to be some sort of motivational video, because I love doing that stuff, even though I don't really do it much. I love trying to motivate people. But I want you to take something tangible from this. And so what I want you to walk away from this video with and actually implement, bro, don't just think about, is what type of person do I want to be? And now divide that into each area of your life that you prioritize. So for myself personally, my values are my faith. So, okay, what type of like Christian man, what type of leader can I be? And do I want to be? And then with my physique, how much muscle do I want to have? How shredded do I want to be? All this sort of stuff. With my career, what type of business do I want to build? What kind of impact do I want to have on the people I work with and the people that work for me? What kind of relationships do I want to have with my friends, with my family? You know, what type of woman do I want to attract? Like all these sorts of things, bro. You need to start to go through, just spend 3 minutes, bro, literally 180 seconds, and just sit with what are the answers to these questions. And then you sit with them and you realize, okay, these are what I want, right? What would I need to do to actually get there? And just take the top off, bro. Like for a second, just like think, okay, there's no limits. Just like think, it doesn't hurt to think that way. Just think, what would actually it take? What would it actually take for me to achieve these things? What would it actually take for me to be this type of person where I have a six-pack, I have all this muscle mass, I have physique, I have the energy, the confidence, I have a relationship that thrives, I have a business or a high-paying job or something with impact. You know, maybe for you, you're also into faith, and for you might be, okay, like, how can you have a better relationship? How can you, follow in the footsteps of, the people that you look up to, or whatever you believe in, bro. And so once you go through this thought process, sit with that and just take one idea, like literally just one thing you would have to implement to have that. And then think about from whatever like that one idea is, think about, okay, is this like the most beneficial, or is there a different thing I can focus on? So like for building muscle, it could be I need to be going to the gym. I would say if you had to choose just one, you should be just at least training, bro. If your goal is to have six-pack abs, then you should start thinking about, okay, like my nutrition is probably the most important. If you want to lose weight fast, it's probably, okay, I probably should be doing cardio most. If you want to build a business, it's like you should probably help people and have impact first. And you'd be surprised, like a lot of people focus on the opposite. Like they focus on like, oh, like the result. It's like, yeah, bro, focus on that, but focus instead more so on the input. Just the one highest needle-threading activity that's going to get you to the position you want to be with your life. With your faith, it could be, okay, I need to start reading the Bible. I need to start going to church. Or maybe you're not into all of that, and you're like, I just want to meditate or sit with myself and just like think. Whatever that is, bro, just start to take those actions in the areas of your life that actually improve, that you want to improve. And your life's going to change, bro. You don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to believe all the stuff I said about the story, but like that stuff's literally true. And it all changed my life because I stopped caring about what the old version of myself thought. And I started to force new beliefs and new thought patterns into my own mind until they eventually consumed me, bro. Like literally you just have to obsess over the person you want to be. Not in like a, crazy way, but like to some extent, yeah. I mean, it's your life, bro. Like at the end of the day, you're going to have no time left. And I truly, wholeheartedly, 1000% agree with the thing that David Goggins says, where it's like his biggest fear is he thinks you go up to heaven or whatever the afterlife is, and you get to meet the person that was doing all the things that you should have been doing, and all the things that you're like, it's probably not a good idea. He wasn't doing, and he basically maxed out all of his attributes in real life. You get to meet him face to face, and God shows you or whatever, that like this is who you could have been, but this is where you are now. And I wholeheartedly think about that quite often, because it's like, if you're supposed to amount to a lot, then like, why aren't you, bro? You just don't believe in yourself, and your mindset's not right, and you need to fix that first and foremost, because you can be doing the work but have a poor mindset. I know so many people, bro, that I grew up with that have been training for the same amount of time as me, 12 years, 15 years, bro, and they're still like not in crazy shape. And it's not a dig at them or anything, but it's like, bro, the reason for that is because whenever I'd speak with them, they would always be negative. Yeah, I can't lose weight. Yeah, I just can't build muscle. For me, I was always the opposite. Like, bro, I'm going to put so much muscle. Like, I'm going to get shredded. Just watch. And a lot of times I wouldn't even talk, bro. I would just think in my own head that stuff. And then start paying off. And then people are like, oh, how do you achieve this stuff? It's like, bro, your mindset is out of whack. Same thing with my business. I remember certain people, you know, saying that, yeah, I'm going to grow this business. I'm going to do all this, you know, one day when we were back in high school. And not to say that they won't, but a lot of them like never put the input in. And I legitimately just always thought like, bro, I'm going to have this fitness business. Just watch. And here I am, bro. And I told myself like, yo, I'm going to make my first $10,000 in a single month on the internet, bro. And I did that, bro. And I told myself like, yo, I'm going to travel. I'm going to do all this stuff. And I've done that stuff. And it's not to brag, but it's like, yo, when you say you want something, bro, you just have to actually commit to it. And you have to put your all into it. So like, stop wasting your life, bro. Stop just thinking that people get lucky. Like, they literally believe with an insane amount of conviction, bro, that it's possible. And if you're not one of those people, bro, then you need to change, because my job, bro, as a coach, like, is not to help. But by the way, like, those people were just screaming out the car, bro. Bro, that's wild. It's like, bro, let me record my video in peace. Anyways, like, the people that like don't have the right mindset, bro, like they're just wasting their life. And my job as a coach, which is what I tell my clients, like, bro, you need to become the person that you want to be. And so if I'm not pushing you to be that person, then I'm doing you a disservice, because I know the potential that you have for yourself. And all you guys watching, like all of you subscribers, bro, I literally remember when I started this YouTube channel, I had 0 subscribers. And bro, I was petrified to freaking post a video. Same with my Instagram. And I started getting people to sub and to follow. And I realized, like, I have impact that I want to help you guys with. So any of you guys watching, I'm not just saying you should do this. Like, genuinely, you need to and you deserve to. And you're letting yourself down if you're not doing the work and thinking about yourself as the person you want to be. So, bro, don't be like those people that just drove past me in the car screaming at the top of their lungs, hating, or probably drunk. Bro, be out there working. Be out there putting in the actual step-by-step plan of like what you need to do, and just like put stuff into action, bro. You're gonna figure it out, bro. You just have to try stuff. And so many people don't even believe in themselves, bro, and they call themselves crazy. So that's my advice for you guys. And it's not just an advice, like, that's literally a command. Like, if you don't implement this stuff, bro, then I'm gonna be genuinely mad. And you're gonna be the type of person that never gets where it is that you want to be. Because you could be light years ahead of where you're at, bro, but you just don't believe in yourself. And growing up, bro, I didn't have people that believed in me, but motherfucker, I believed in myself. And I motivated people, bro. And the ones that put me down, bro, or didn't believe in me, bro, I didn't listen to them, bro. At the end of the day, you have to have somebody in your life to push you to become that best possible version. So you have to start with yourself. Because as a coach, bro, I can push you, I can motivate you. You know, you can watch all these YouTube videos and all this stuff and get like inspired. But it's like, bro, if you don't ever freaking take action, brother, then you're going to be in the exact same spot and you're just thinking about doing it. And so many people hold themselves back. And I was that person for so many years. And I literally hated it, bro. But the thing is, I wasn't even aware of what was possible. So looking back on the fact, I don't have regrets, because everything falls in line the way it should. But looking back on the fact, I would have just started the business, bro, 10 years ago. But I didn't know where to start. I didn't believe in myself. If I believed in myself, I would have figured out what would be the first step. And after all this time, bro, I'm finally where I want to be. You know, I'm not going to say I'm content. There's so many more goals I have for myself. But, you know, it's truly crazy, like, when you actually believe in yourself, like, what you can accomplish. So just literally, bro, take action and become that person. And if you feel like you resonate with this video, just drop a comment, you know, and let me know. And if you want to get help with your fitness, book a call below in the link. You know, we can jump on a strategy call. I'll walk you through the 6 pillars of the Achieve Your Ideal Physique coaching program. You really don't have to. I have a lot of people I already work with. I'm in a good spot. But like, if you actually feel like you want help, or maybe you don't, but you just want to have, maybe ask some questions about my journey, or maybe where you could get in terms of like the next 2.0 version of yourself, then I'll just click the link below, book in a free call, and I'll see you on the other side. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at jstroudfit, same as here. And just become that person, bro, because it's worth it. You don't have to, bro, but I'm telling you, you won't regret it.